Hello YouTube, welcome back to Kind Heart Homestead. We were in New Mexico on vacation for about a week. While I was gone, I was surprised to receive some interesting phone calls about our property here in Virginia. It turns out that the well got dug and our septic tank got installed. And you're gonna watch me investigate all of this live because I just arrived on the property and I haven't even had time to explore. It looks like there's a bunch of silt here, which I believe is common for the well digging process. I've seen YouTube videos where there's basically just like a pile of gunk left behind by the drilling. And yep, here at the top of the pile is the well. So that's not the typical well casing that I'm familiar with. That looked like PVC. I'm not sure, maybe I can call them and ask how that works and how they installed that. Anyway, I'm walking down here to the excavated area where I'm pouring the footing pretty soon for the utility shed. But just beyond the utility shed is the area that was defined by the guy who designs the septic systems. He had stakes set in place for the health department and for any septic installer to use to identify the area. And it looks pretty well excavated, and there's a little pipe here. Not exactly sure what the pipe is. Let's check it out. I don't know exactly what that pipe is. Maybe it's an inspection port to see and verify the depth of the septic tank. It doesn't look like the cap comes off, but maybe I could give it a few taps with a hammer and see what happens. It's also possible that I have to pull that whole pipe out, and it's designed for me to backfill it. So it's a bit lumpier than it was when it was grass, but I suppose over time I can kind of get this raked back out. I think I like the fact that it's all dirt. He completely excavated the whole area instead of just disturbing the areas where each row of chambers was going to go, because I don't think we want to grow grass if we can help it. So if this area is defined as a new space, I might, put a fence around it if we're going to have goats or something, because you're not supposed to have livestock or heavy equipment or anything like that over your drainage field, because it can change the compaction of the soil, which apparently can throw off the percolation rates. Anyway, if we can grow something here like flowers or something pretty low maintenance like a clover, it would give me less grass to mow, which is always a nice thing. So this is it. I'm going to get the lawnmower out, start mowing it, just because it's been a couple weeks since I've been here and everything's getting tall. So stay tuned. So now that I've smoothed out this area around the septic tank, I want to try to probe the soil and see if I can locate the actual tank itself, because it would be nice to know where it is, so when I have heavy equipment in here, I make sure not to run over it. So taking another break from the sun to try to find anything I can do in a cooler setting, especially in like the shade of the shipping container, I decided to try to elevate this corner out of the mud because metal will rust if it's sitting in there too long. So here's my attempt to excavate enough to get the jack underneath, and then you'll see over time how the jack kind of just sinks into the ground, and I have to get creative with bricks. And by the end of this process, you'll see that I got at least 3 bricks stacked on top of each other down in the dirt. And only then was I able to get enough leverage to lift it up just 4 inches to put a block underneath. And I was able to succeed with this project just barely. And I can tell that it worked because the doors over on the other end of the container, they're actually closing a lot better now. I guess because this was kind of set up crooked and not level. The doors were pinching a bit, and I actually had to use a mallet if I wanted to close all of the levers. All right, well, I just started getting back to work on the footing for the utility shed. So my understanding of concrete is that it weighs a lot. And if you have a pretty flimsy form, the more weight you add, the more likely it is for the form to kick out. So I bought a bunch of 2x4s, not the best of quality, but I think they'll work well as kick-out supports. What I'm planning to do is cut a bunch of 2x4 strips about 1 to 2 feet long, kind of depending on the terrain. I'm going to toenail them in, one end into the back of the form. The other end will have a stake firmly planted behind it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to screw the stake to the board. I think what I'll do is I'll make sure everything's level and square one final time before I actually screw the stuff to the stakes. But for now, I'm gonna leave it just kind of floating. So I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping these. Unfortunately, I don't do very well in the sun. So with the summer starting, it's just kind of bad luck that I have to build our first structure in the heat of the day. Well, now that it's evening, there's some shadow being cast by the woods in my shipping container. I parked the truck right by the container to be in the shade. I'm going to try to do as much as I can with these little kick-out supports before I have to go back over there and install them. It doesn't actually take very long to install them, and I'm also not exactly sure what the spacing needs to be. Right now I'm putting a support every 4 feet, but I might need to add more. So, like I said before, I'm going to toenail each side, and I'm just gonna kind of do those in bulk right now. on the truck tailgate. Well, the sun's finally low, which means my whole work area is shaded. This is my first opportunity today to work on this without the sun blazing down on me. I don't have to keep applying sunscreen. I'm done cutting this for now, so I was able to wash some of the sawdust off of me. All this is pretty annoying until we have our water going. The well's installed, but it's kind of pointless to waste time hooking up a pump to the generator and not really having any infrastructure in place for a shower. That's why we have to hurry up, get this shed installed, get the floor poured, get all the framing done, things like that, because this is the building that our well pressure tank is going to be in. So any buildings that we build, any hoses that we have, all that water is going to come from this structure behind me, and this is also where our laundry and our first shower is going to be. Here's some of those blocks that I was talking about earlier. I'm going to put 4 along the small side, and I'll show you how I do it. There's so much room behind this foam that it definitely needs to be backfilled, but the risk that backfilling creates is that the pressure could build up and pop the foam boards out. So I'm just giving it a try for now, and I might have to build some braces to span the inside to hold the foam up until at least the first half of concrete's put in. The concrete will hold the foam up, but until then I might need something to keep the boards in place. We're definitely relieved to have the well and the septic in place, especially since the well wasn't scheduled to be installed for several more months. But since the installer was in the neighborhood doing another job, he thought while he had the rig up there, he would go ahead and drill mine, and it happened to be the same week as the septic tank. Anyway, even though they're in place, it's going to take a while before we can connect anything to them and actually use them. If you're interested in sticking around to watch other stuff that we have in store, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be notified. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.